natural timber veneer has some advantages that cannot be achieved with artificial surfaces such as laminates, no matter how realistic they may be. What we especially enjoy about natural timber veneer is the depth of the warmth and the way it reflects the light. But being a natural product, that does create some challenges. Now, the first is color consistency. Some species of veneers, such as Hupine and American oak, are remarkably consistent in color, but others, such as our Australian eucalypt, such as blackbutt or spotted gum, have a significant amount of color variation across them. Unlike solid timber, where every single stick will vary in color, with natural timber veneer, because the way it works is the log is sliced into slices called leaves, which are then joined together. Within a single log, there can be quite a lot of consistency of color. But when you go from one log to another, there can be a significant variation, which then means if you have a very large space, you can have patches of different colors. So the way we recommend to overcome that is where we have a large space, we'd recommend mismatching. That means taking all this color of veneer that you'd need to do the entire project and mixing it up across every single panel. As you can see, we've used this on many different projects, and the method of working that we normally find best is two options. Either you can meet us at the veneer layers if it's a large project and actually go through and select the veneer leaves and ensure that there's not anything that's too light or too dark or in any sort of extremes. Or we can do that through a sample, where we'll put together a sample that shows the range of possible colors, and anything that you feel is outside of what's acceptable, we can exclude those. Now, it is important to pick at least 50% more than the amount of veneer that you expect to need to allow for any unexpected wastage, extras for doors, and so on. Another cause of variation is the way the light reflects. So, because of the way the veneer is sliced, the grains will be traveling in one or another direction, and that changes the way the light reflects. So I know a case in point where I've looked at a panel in the factory. It was lying on the table, and it appeared as though every second leaf across that panel was much lighter than the other. But when I went to the other side of the panel, every leaf that looked light before now looked dark, and vice versa, because of the way they're reflecting light. So the standard way of slicing veneer, where every leaf comes out the same, is to book match it. What that means is if there's any grains going upwards on each layer, as they flip over, the one leaf will have the grains pointing up, the other leaf will have the grains pointing down, which will create a very different way of reflecting the light. So in those circumstances, it may be better on certain species to slip match them, which means where as the leaves come off the tree, they are laid all the same way, and the grains move in one single direction. Another aspect of veneers is that they will change color over time. This is especially strong effect where the species are very light colors and where they've been exposed to a lot of UV light. For example, where you have a wall facing towards a large open window, and even certain LED lights have UV component which will accelerate that aging process. The aging process will happen even in the absence of light, but it's accelerated in sunlight. Now what that means is you can have a situation where replacement panels, or we've even had cases where the final panel of a batch, we produced an entire batch all together. The last panel couldn't be installed because the wall that it needed to be butted up against hadn't yet been built. They put that into storage. When they brought that panel out, it was significantly different in color because all the others had darkened. In those sort of circumstances, we recommend just installing the panel, waiting about 6 months for that time of exposure to aging to reduce. Because over time it tends to darken rapidly in the beginning and then more slowly later on. So after about 6 months, the difference will be negligible. Do not try and stain a replacement panel to match older panels, because that means the stained panel will then become significantly darker or even a different color over time. Now this aging effect is separate and in addition to any darkening of the clear finish that's been used. So we recommend using a non-yellowing clear finish, and you can also get clear finishes with UV inhibitors to reduce the impact of UV light on the clear finish itself. Thanks, I hope this has been helpful. Feel free to contact us if you have any further questions.